History has a way of hiding its most fascinating secrets in plain sight. Scattered across the globe, there are ancient structures that defy explanation: monuments, temples, and buildings so enigmatic they've left even the brightest archaeologists scratching their heads for centuries. These aren't just ruins, they're riddles carved in stone, waiting for someone to unlock their mysteries. Imagine standing in front of a towering edifice, its walls covered in symbols no one can read, its purpose lost to time. Who built it, why, and what forgotten stories does it hold? Today, we're embarking on a journey to uncover 25 of the most baffling historical buildings ever constructed. Sites so strange, their true functions remain hotly debated even now. Picture the Great Pyramid of Giza, not just as a tomb but as a structure aligned with celestial precision, its secrets still debated by scholars. Or consider the sprawling complex of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a temple so ancient it predates agriculture itself, rewriting our understanding of human civilization. These aren't just relics of the past, they're puzzles that challenge everything we think we know about history. From hidden chambers to impossible engineering feats, each of these structures tells a story we've only begun to piece together. Some were once places of worship, others might have been advanced observatories or even forgotten experiments in architecture. But one thing connects them all: they refuse to give up their secrets easily. So settle in, because we're about to dive deep into the shadows of history, where every corner holds a new mystery and every stone has a tale to tell. Ready to uncover the truth behind these ancient enigmas? Let's begin. The Great Pyramid of Giza is one of the most iconic structures ever built, a towering testament to the ingenuity of ancient Egypt. Officially recognized as the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu, this colossal monument has fascinated historians and explorers for centuries. But here's the twist: the more we study it, the more questions arise. For starters, its precision is mind-boggling. The pyramid's base is leveled to within just 2 centimeters, and its sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west, with an accuracy that would be impressive even with modern technology. How did an ancient civilization achieve such precision without the tools we have today? Then there's the mystery of its hidden chambers. While the king's and queen's chambers are well known, recent scans have revealed voids and passageways that still haven't been fully explored. Some researchers believe these secret spaces could hold undiscovered artifacts or even clues about the pyramid's true purpose, and that's where the theories get really wild. Sure, it's labeled as a tomb, but why does no mummy or burial treasure actually confirm that? Some suggest it was an ancient power plant, harnessing energy through its unique geometry and materials. Others argue it was an astronomical observatory, aligned with constellations to track time or celestial events. Even more puzzling are the reports of unusual electromagnetic activity inside the pyramid, leading some to speculate about forgotten knowledge of energy manipulation. And let's not forget the controversy over its construction. How were millions of massive stone blocks moved and assembled with such perfection? The debates rage on, with every new discovery adding another layer of intrigue. From advanced math encoded in its dimensions to unexplained shafts leading deep into its core, the Great Pyramid refuses to be just another ancient tomb. It's a riddle wrapped in stone, silently daring us to uncover its secrets. Stonehenge stands on the windswept plains of England like a silent giant, its massive stone circles casting long shadows over the centuries. Unlike the Great Pyramid, which hides its secrets in hidden chambers, Stonehenge's mystery lies right in the open. How did ancient people move these colossal stones, some weighing as much as 25 tons, from quarries over 150 miles away? The logistics alone are staggering. Without wheels or modern machinery, how did they transport these monoliths across rivers, valleys, and rough terrain? Some theories suggest they might have used sledges, rollers, or even floated them on rafts, but no one knows for sure. and that's just the beginning of the puzzle. Then there's the question of why Stonehenge was built in the first place. The most widely accepted theory is that it served as a ceremonial site, a place of worship or ritual for ancient peoples. Its alignment with the summer and winter solstices supports this idea. On the longest and shortest days of the year, sunlight shines directly through the structure's arches, suggesting it may have been used to mark the changing seasons. But other theories take this a step further. Some researchers believe Stonehenge was an ancient astronomical calendar, its stones positioned to predict eclipses or track celestial events. Others argue it might have been a healing center, drawing people who believed the stones held mystical powers. Recent excavations have only deepened the intrigue. Beneath the surface, archaeologists have discovered cremated human remains, animal bones, and even evidence of feasting, hinting at complex funeral rites or communal gatherings. And let's not forget the smaller blue stones, which were dragged all the way from Wales. Why go to such lengths unless these stones held special significance? Every new discovery sparks fresh debates, but one thing is certain: Stonehenge wasn't just built for a single purpose. It evolved over centuries, its meaning shifting with the generations who used it. What makes Stonehenge so captivating isn't just its imposing presence, but the fact that, despite all our technology and research, we still don't have all the answers. Was it a temple, a clock, a place of healing, or something else entirely? The stones don't speak, but they don't need to. Their very existence whispers of a past far more complex than we often imagine. Shifting our gaze from towering stone structures to the vast desert plains of Peru, we find one of history's most perplexing creations, the Nazca Lines. Etched into the arid landscape over 2,000 years ago, these massive geoglyphs stretch for miles, depicting everything from simple geometric shapes to elaborate animals, plants, and even human-like figures. But here's what's truly mind-bending. These intricate designs are so enormous they can only be fully appreciated from the air, raising the question how, and more importantly why, did the Nazca people create art they could never see in its entirety? The sheer scale of the lines defies logic. Some stretch over 1,200 feet long, with proportions so precise they'd challenge modern engineers. The Nazca crafted them by removing the dark top layer of pebbles to reveal the lighter earth beneath, a technique that's deceptively simple but required meticulous planning. Without the advantage of flight or advanced tools, how did they achieve such accuracy? Some researchers suggest they might have used rudimentary surveying techniques, staking out designs with ropes and wooden poles. But even that doesn't fully explain the flawless symmetry of sprawling figures like the hummingbird or the spider. Then there's the mystery of their purpose. One popular theory claims the lines were ritual pathways, walked by ancient people during religious ceremonies to communicate with deities or honor water sources in this brutally dry region. Others argue they functioned as an astronomical calendar, aligning with celestial events to mark seasons or predict rainfall. But the most tantalizing and controversial idea is that they were landing strips for extraterrestrial visitors. Proponents of this theory point to the line's bird's-eye visibility and geometric precision as evidence of otherworldly influence, though mainstream archaeologists dismiss this as pure speculation. Recent discoveries have only deepened the intrigue. Scientists using drone technology have uncovered hundreds of previously unknown lines, some hidden beneath the sand for centuries. These new glyphs include humanoid figures with exaggerated features, adding fuel to debates about their cultural significance. Even more puzzling are the traces of offerings found along certain lines, shells, pottery, and even llama remains, hinting at their use in sacred rituals. What makes the Nazca Lines so captivating isn't just their size or artistry, but the way they blur the line between practicality and symbolism. Were they a message to the gods, a map of the cosmos, or something beyond our current understanding? Unlike stone monuments that weather the ages, these desert etchings are fragile, their survival a testament to the region's unique climate. One heavy rain could erase them forever, a fleeting whisper from a civilization that left no written records. And perhaps that's the most haunting part. We may never know their true purpose, only that they were important enough for people to spend generations carving their legacy into the earth itself. Deep beneath the rocky terrain of Cappadocia in Turkey lies an ancient marvel that defies expectations: Derinkuyu, an entire city carved underground. This isn't just a few tunnels or hidden chambers. It's a labyrinthine complex reaching 18 stories deep, capable of housing up to 20,000 people along with their livestock, food stores, and even places of worship. The scale is staggering, but what's truly remarkable is how meticulously planned it was. Unlike natural caves, Derinkuyu was intentionally engineered with ventilation shafts stretching over 170 feet to the surface, ensuring fresh air circulated even at its deepest levels. How did ancient builders without modern tools create such an elaborate subterranean world? Theories about its purpose are as layered as the city itself. The most widely accepted idea is that Derinkuyu served as a refuge, a hidden fortress where communities could vanish during invasions or persecution. Historical records suggest it was used by early Christians fleeing Roman oppression, its narrow passageways easily sealed with massive stone doors to thwart pursuers. But some researchers argue it might have been more than just a hiding place. The presence of wineries, stables, and even schools hints at long-term habitation, raising questions about whether people lived here for generations, not just emergencies. Then there's the spiritual angle. Cappadocia was a hotspot for monastic activity, and Derinkuyu's chapels and baptismal fonts suggest it could have been a sacred retreat, a place of worship hidden from the outside world. Others speculate the city was part of a vast trade network, its tunnels connecting to other underground complexes across the region. But perhaps the most intriguing theory ties Derinkuyu to cosmic events. Some propose it was built as protection against catastrophic meteor showers or extreme climate shifts, its depths offering shelter from skies turned hostile. Recent explorations have uncovered even more mysteries, like hidden escape routes leading to other underground cities and markings that might be a code or star map. Every corridor seems to whisper another question. Was Derinkuyu a fortress, a sanctuary, or something beyond our modern frameworks? Unlike surface ruins, its secrets are buried not by time but by the very earth itself, waiting for the next clue to be unearthed. Isolated in the vast Pacific Ocean, Easter Island is home to one of the most iconic yet mysterious creations of the ancient world, the Moai. These towering stone figures, some standing over 30 feet tall and weighing up to 80 tons, gaze solemnly inland as if guarding secrets lost to time. Their sheer number is staggering, nearly 900 statues scattered across the island, some erected on massive stone platforms called ahu, others left unfinished in quarries as if the workers simply walked away mid-project. But the real enigma lies in how they were moved. Without wheels, draft animals, or advanced tools, how did the Rapa Nui people transport these colossal monoliths across miles of rugged terrain? For decades, the prevailing theory involved wooden sledges and log rollers, with teams of workers laboriously dragging the statues into position. But recent experiments have proposed an even more fascinating possibility, that the Moai were walked upright, rocked side to side by ropes in a painstaking process resembling a slow-motion dance. This method, demonstrated by archaeologists using replica statues, aligns with oral traditions that describe the Moai moving with the help of the gods. Yet even this explanation raises new questions. How did a small, isolated population with limited resources devote so much energy to such a monumental task? And why prioritize statues over practical needs, potentially contributing to the island's ecological decline? The purpose behind the Moai is just as debated as their construction. Most scholars agree they served as sacred representations of ancestors, their backs to the sea as if watching over the living. The hollow eyes, once filled with coral and obsidian, might have been meant to see ritual sites or celestial events. But other theories suggest they were territorial markers, symbols of power between competing clans, or even conduits for communicating with the divine. The discovery of buried bodies beneath some ahu hints at funeral rites, while the rare moai adorned with red stone headdresses, possibly later additions, implies evolving cultural meanings. Then there's the mystery of their downfall. Many moai were toppled during periods of societal collapse, their faces shattered against the earth. Was this an act of rebellion, warfare, or a spiritual reckoning? And what of the island's undeciphered Rongo script? Could those glyphs hold clues to the statue's true significance? The moai stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that pushed its limits, their stoic faces reflecting both ingenuity and hubris. They challenge us to ponder not just how they were made, but why humans throughout history have felt compelled to create the impossible monuments so grand they outlast the very people who built them. Beneath the turquoise waves off Japan's Yonaguni Island lies a site that could rewrite history, a massive terraced structure resembling an ancient stepped pyramid, its sharp angles and flat surfaces almost mocking the idea that nature alone carved them. Discovered in the late 1980s by a diver exploring the seafloor, the Yonaguni monument has sparked fiery debates ever since. Is this a natural geological formation, shaped by centuries of ocean currents and tectonic shifts? Or could it be the remnants of a man-made city, swallowed by the sea thousands of years ago? The monument's features are undeniably striking. Towering stone blocks form near-perfect right angles with stair-like terraces and what appear to be carved channels or drainage systems. Some sections resemble architectural elements, pillars, platforms, even what looks like a ceremonial altar. Marine geologists argue that sandstone fractures naturally along clean lines, creating the illusion of human craftsmanship. But skeptics of this theory point to the precision of the symmetries and the presence of what looks like a carved human face, complete with eyes and a mouth, found nearby. If nature sculpted this, why does it feel so intentional? This is where the theories take a dramatic turn. Some researchers propose a link to lost civilizations like Mu or Atlantis, ancient cultures said to have vanished beneath the waves. Proponents of this idea highlight underwater ruins elsewhere in the world, like Cuba's submerged megaliths or India's Gulf of Cambay structures, as evidence of a global cataclysm that drowned advanced societies. They argue Yonaguni's location near the seismically active Pacific Ring of Fire makes it a prime candidate for such a disaster, but not everyone is convinced. Archaeologists caution that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, noting the absence of tools, pottery, or other artifacts typically found at human sites. Coral growth patterns on the monument suggest it's been submerged for at least 10,000 years, long before mainstream history places advanced building techniques in this region. Could an unknown culture have thrived here, only to be erased by rising seas at the end of the last ice age? Or are we seeing what we want to see, projecting our myths onto the ocean's enigmatic canvas? What makes Yonaguni so compelling isn't just the unanswered questions, but the way it forces us to reconsider the boundaries between geology and archaeology. Every dive reveals new details, a possible quarry mark here, a tool-like groove there keeping the debate alive. Whether it's a masterpiece of nature or a relic of a forgotten world, one thing's certain: the ocean guards its secrets fiercely, and Yonaguni's truth may remain just out of reach, shimmering in the depths where science and legend collide. High in the Andes Mountains of Peru, the Sacsayhuaman fortress looms over the city of Cusco like a stone giant frozen in time. Its massive zigzagging walls, built from blocks weighing up to 200 tons, fit together so seamlessly that not even a razor blade can slip between them. The precision is mind-blowing, each boulder carved with irregular angles, yet locking into its neighbors like a perfect three-dimensional puzzle. This isn't just stacking stones, it's an engineering feat that would challenge modern builders with laser-guided tools. So how did an ancient civilization, supposedly working with bronze chisels and stone hammers, achieve such perfection? Theories about its construction are as varied as the stones themselves. Some scholars argue the massive blocks were shaped using a technique called keystone cutting, where workers painstakingly pounded rocks into complementary forms through trial and error. Others propose they might have softened the stone with plant acids or even some lost technology, molding it like clay before it hardened. But the real magic lies in the wall's resilience. Centuries of earthquakes have toppled Spanish cathedrals nearby, yet Sacsayhuaman's interlocking design stands unshaken. It's almost as if the builders knew their creation needed to withstand the fury of the earth itself. Then there's the debate over its purpose. Spanish chroniclers described it as a fortress, and its strategic hilltop position overlooking Cusco supports this. The zigzag walls could have served as defensive barriers, forcing attackers into deadly choke points. But dig deeper and contradictions emerge. Some sections contain intricate carvings of serpents and other sacred symbols, suggesting ceremonial use. The Incas called it the House of the Sun, hinting at a spiritual role, perhaps a temple where rituals echoed off those colossal stones. Even more intriguing are the underground tunnels weaving beneath the site, some leading to water channels or chambers with unknown functions. Was Sacsayhuaman a military stronghold, a religious complex, or both? Recent discoveries have only deepened the enigma. Archaeologists using ground-penetrating radar have mapped hidden structures beneath the soil, including circular plazas and altars that don't align with European accounts. Meanwhile, local legends speak of the walls being built by the gods themselves, or by giants who molded the rocks with their bare hands. Whether myth or metaphor, these stories underscore a truth. Sacsayhuaman defies easy categorization. It's a place where history and mystery collide, its true purpose as layered as the stones that have guarded its secrets for centuries. Every perfectly fitted block whispers a question: what knowledge did its builders possess, and why did they pour such unimaginable effort into a structure that still baffles us today? Göbekli Tepe shatters everything we thought we knew about early human civilization. Nestled in the rocky hills of southeastern Turkey, this sprawling complex of carved stone pillars isn't just old, it's unthinkably ancient, dating back over 11,000 years. That's 6,000 years before Stonehenge, 5,000 years before the first pyramids of Egypt. But here's what makes it truly revolutionary. The people who built it weren't settled farmers cultivating crops. They were hunter-gatherers, nomads who supposedly lacked the organization or resources for such monumental projects. So how did they erect this architectural marvel, and why? The site itself is a labyrinth of mystery. Dozens of massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some towering 16 feet tall and weighing up to 10 tons, are arranged in circular formations. Each pillar is etched with intricate reliefs of animals: scorpions, lions, foxes, and birds, so detailed they seem to pulse with life. The craftsmanship is astonishing, especially considering the builders had only stone tools. But the real shocker is the implied social structure. Constructing Göbekli Tepe would have required hundreds of workers laboring in unison for generations, something never before associated with hunter-gatherer societies. Did these people possess hidden complexity, or was the site itself the catalyst that forced them to organize, planting the seeds of civilization? Then there's the enigma of its purpose. Unlike later temples tied to agricultural cycles, Göbekli Tepe predates farming by millennia. Some researchers believe it was a sacred meeting place for nomadic clans, a spiritual hub where rituals strengthened social bonds. The animal carvings might represent clan totems or deities, their images used in shamanic ceremonies. Others argue the pillars align with celestial events, their positions mapping stars like Sirius or the Pleiades. One particularly compelling theory suggests the site was a funeral complex, with the circles serving as ritual spaces for processing the dead, supported by the discovery of human skull fragments bearing deliberate cut marks. Recent excavations have only deepened the puzzle. Beneath the known circles, ground-penetrating radar reveals at least 20 more buried layers, suggesting the site was deliberately covered over centuries. Why go to such lengths to hide a sacred space? Some speculate it was part of a cyclical renewal ritual, while others propose the burying was an act of preservation, a time capsule for future generations. Whatever the reason, Göbekli Tepe forces us to rewrite history's timeline. It wasn't agriculture that birthed civilization's grand projects, but something far more profound, a shared human yearning to reach beyond survival, to carve meaning into stone long before we'd even mastered the soil. Stretching across the windswept fields of Brittany in France, the Karnak stones form one of the most puzzling prehistoric landscapes on Earth. Over 3,000 massive megaliths stand in eerie, deliberate rows, some towering 12 feet high, others lying like fallen sentinels. Their sheer number is overwhelming, aligned with such precision that it's impossible to dismiss them as random or accidental. But here's the mystery that's baffled scholars for centuries. Why would Neolithic people over 5,000 years ago expend unimaginable effort to drag these colossal stones into place, arranging them in patterns that stretch for miles? The most striking feature of the Karnak stones is their alignment. Unlike Stonehenge's circular formation, these megaliths march across the landscape in nearly straight lines, sometimes converging like the spokes of a wheel. Some rows run perfectly east to west, while others align with the sunrise during solstices or equinoxes. This has led many researchers to theorize that the site functioned as a colossal astronomical calendar, tracking the movements of the sun, moon, and stars with uncanny accuracy. Imagine standing among these stones as dawn breaks on the summer solstice, watching sunlight slice precisely between the pillars, a celestial event encoded in rock. But not everyone agrees. Skeptics argue that while some alignments match celestial events, others don't fit any known pattern, leaving the astronomical theory tantalizing but incomplete. Then there's the burial hypothesis. Scattered among the standing stones are dolmens, massive stone tombs and burial mounds, suggesting the site held deep funerary significance. Could the rows of megaliths have served as pathways for the dead, guiding spirits toward some Neolithic afterlife? Local legends speak of the stones being petrified Roman soldiers, a mythical explanation that hints at their enduring mystique. But if this was purely a burial site, why the need for such precise alignments? Why not simply erect markers near the graves? One of the most controversial theories proposes the Karnak stones were part of an ancient seismic warning system. Some researchers note that the megaliths sit atop fault lines, and their arrangement might have amplified subtle vibrations in the earth, acting as a prehistoric earthquake detector. Experiments have shown that certain configurations of standing stones can resonate with low-frequency sound waves, though whether Neolithic builders understood this principle remains pure speculation. Recent technological advances have added new layers to the puzzle. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed buried stones and hidden geometric patterns beneath the soil, suggesting the visible megaliths are just the tip of a much larger complex. Even more intriguing are the carvings found on some stones, spirals, cup marks, and undeciphered symbols that might hold clues to their purpose. Were they maps, ritual markings, or messages meant for future generations? What makes the Karnak stones so captivating isn't just their scale or age, but the way they resist easy explanation. They stand at the intersection of astronomy, spirituality, and science, a monument that might have served all these purposes or none of them. Unlike pyramids or temples, which often proclaim their function through design, these silent sentinels offer no answers, only riddles carved in granite. Every theory unravels as quickly as it forms, leaving us to wonder, were they built to honor the dead, to read the heavens, or to listen to the whispers of the earth itself? The stones keep their secrets, standing in weathered rows as they have for millennia, daring us to decode their silent language. Rising from the savannas of southern Africa, the Great Zimbabwe ruins stand as a silent testament to a civilization long vanished. This sprawling complex of stone walls, towers, and enclosures isn't just impressive for its scale. It's the largest ancient structure south of the Sahara, but for the mysteries it holds. Who built this stone city? How did it become the heart of a vast trading empire, and why was it abandoned, leaving behind only whispers of its grandeur? The origins of Great Zimbabwe trace back to the 11th century, when the Shona people began constructing its distinctive dry stone walls, fitting granite blocks together without mortar in a technique so precise that many sections still stand tall centuries later. At its peak, the city was a bustling hub of wealth and power, home to as many as 18,000 people. Its wealth came from trade. Gold, ivory, and copper flowed through its markets, connecting inland Africa to ports on the Indian Ocean where merchants from as far away as Persia and China bartered for these precious goods. The discovery of Chinese porcelain fragments and Arab glass beads buried in the ruins confirms these far-reaching connections, painting a picture of a cosmopolitan center thriving at the crossroads of continents. But the story of Great Zimbabwe took a dark turn in the colonial era. European settlers, unwilling to believe Africans could have built such a sophisticated city, spun wild theories about Phoenician traders or even the biblical Queen of Sheba being its architects. These racist myths were used to justify colonial exploitation, dismissing the Shona people's own oral histories and the overwhelming archaeological evidence of their ancestors' achievements. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that modern research finally debunked these falsehoods, cementing Great Zimbabwe's place as an African marvel. Yet the greatest mystery remains: why was it abandoned? By the 15th century, the city lay empty, its streets silent. Some theories point to environmental factors. Overgrazing and deforestation may have exhausted the land, forcing people to migrate. Others suggest political upheaval or the decline of the gold trade disrupted its economy. Then there's the spiritual angle. Local traditions speak of a sacred covenant broken, a spiritual imbalance that compelled the people to leave. Walking through the ruins today, the air hums with unanswered questions. The iconic conical tower, its purpose still debated, looms like a guardian of forgotten secrets. Was it a grain silo, a royal symbol, or an astronomical marker? The stone birds perched on monoliths, now Zimbabwe's national emblem, hint at a culture deeply tied to the land and sky. Every weathered wall whispers of a civilization that mastered architecture, trade, and diplomacy, only to vanish into the mists of time. Great Zimbabwe doesn't just challenge colonial prejudices, it forces us to reconsider the dynamism of pre-colonial Africa, a place of innovation and connection long before outsiders arrived. Its stones don't just hold up walls, they hold up a mirror to history itself, reflecting both what we know and all we have yet to learn. The Temple of Baalbek stands as one of the most imposing remnants of the ancient world, a colossal testament to the ambition and skill of its builders. Perched in modern-day Lebanon, this sprawling complex was constructed by the Romans, who dedicated it to Jupiter, Bacchus, and Venus. But what truly sets Baalbek apart isn't just its grandeur, it's the baffling foundation upon which it rests. Beneath the towering columns and ornate carvings lie three massive stone blocks known as the trilithon, each weighing an astonishing 800 to 1,000 tons. To put that in perspective, that's heavier than 3 fully loaded jumbo jets. The question isn't just how the Romans moved these behemoths, but why they'd go to such extremes when smaller stones would have sufficed. The mystery deepens when we consider the precision involved. These foundation stones fit together so seamlessly that not even a sheet of paper could slide between them, a level of craftsmanship that rivals modern engineering. Theories about their transportation range from the plausible to the fantastical. Some scholars suggest the Romans used a system of wooden rollers, levers, and pulleys, combined with thousands of laborers and oxen to drag the stones from a quarry nearly a kilometer away. Others argue they might have employed a primitive form of concrete or even some lost technology to soften and mold the stone temporarily. Then there are the more unconventional ideas like ancient sound levitation or extraterrestrial intervention, though these lack credible evidence. But the enigma of Baalbek doesn't end with the Romans. The site's origins might stretch back even further, long before the empire claimed it. Beneath the Roman temple lies evidence of earlier construction: Phoenician, Babylonian, or perhaps something even older. Local legends speak of a time when giants walked the earth, attributing the massive stones to their hands. Some researchers propose that Baalbek was originally a sacred site for an unknown pre-Roman civilization, its purpose tied to celestial alignments or earth energies. The alignment of certain structures with solstice sunrises fuels speculation that it served as an astronomical observatory or a place of ritual significance. Adding to the intrigue is the discovery of an even larger stone still lying in the quarry nearby. Dubbed the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, it weighs an estimated 1,650 tons, making it one of the heaviest megaliths ever carved. Why was it abandoned? Did the builders encounter some insurmountable obstacle, or was its purpose never fulfilled? The unanswered questions pile up like the stones themselves. What makes Baalbek so compelling isn't just the scale of its ruins, but the layers of history and myth woven into its foundations. Was it a Roman show of power, a sacred site repurposed, or something far older and more mysterious? The stones refuse to yield their secrets, standing in silent defiance of time, daring us to unravel the truth behind one of antiquity's most awe-inspiring puzzles. Beneath the sun-baked streets of Malta lies one of the world's most haunting underground mysteries, the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Carved from solid limestone over 5,000 years ago, this labyrinthine complex descends 3 stories into the earth, its shadowy chambers swirling with whispers of the past. But what makes this site truly unforgettable isn't just its age or scale, it's the way sound behaves here. Step into the so-called oracle room, speak softly, and your voice will resonate through the entire complex with an otherworldly clarity, as if the walls themselves are amplifying your words. Archaeologists have tested the acoustics and found something astonishing. The space is tuned to a specific frequency, one that vibrates at the same pitch as human brainwaves during trance states. Was this intentional? Did the builders understand how sound could alter consciousness, crafting their subterranean sanctuary to bridge the physical and spiritual worlds? The Hypogeum's dual purpose only deepens the intrigue. Excavations revealed the bones of over 7,000 people, stacked in elaborate burial chambers alongside red ochre, a pigment often linked to rituals of life and death. Yet interspersed among the dead are spaces that defy funerary logic, carved altars, winding processional paths, and niches that suggest ceremonies for the living. Some researchers believe this was no mere tomb but a necropolis temple, where the living communed with ancestors through sound and symbol. The walls are adorned with spirals and honeycomb patterns, motifs found in other Neolithic sacred sites across Europe, hinting at a shared spiritual language lost to time. Then there are the legends passed down through generations of Maltese locals. Some speak of elongated skulls discovered in the Hypogeum's deepest recesses, their strange shape fueling speculation about an unknown ancient culture or even extraterrestrial influence. Others claim that when the site was first uncovered in the early 20th century, workers vanished without a trace in its twisting passages, their fate swallowed by the darkness. The most chilling tale involves a group of schoolchildren who reportedly wandered into the Hypogeum on a field trip, only for 30 of them to never return. Official records dismiss this as folklore, but the story persists, woven into the site's aura of mystery. Modern technology has peeled back some of the Hypogeum's secrets. Laser scans reveal hidden chambers still unexplored, their entrances deliberately sealed in antiquity. Meanwhile, studies of the acoustics suggest the entire complex might function like a giant resonator, with certain chambers producing low-frequency infrasound known to induce feelings of awe or dread. Could this explain why so many describe an overwhelming sense of presence in its depths, as if the walls themselves are watching? The hypogeum refuses to fit neatly into any single category. It's a burial site that feels alive, a temple without clear deities, an engineering marvel shrouded in myth. Perhaps that's its greatest lesson. Some ancient spaces weren't meant to be understood, only experienced. To stand in its echoing chambers is to stand at the threshold of the unknowable, where every whisper carries the weight of millennia. Scattered across the rolling hills of northern Laos lies one of Southeast Asia's most perplexing archaeological enigmas, the Plain of Jars. Thousands of massive stone vessels, some towering nearly 10 feet tall and weighing several tons, dot the landscape in clusters that seem anything but random. Carved from sandstone, granite, and limestone, these jars bear the marks of meticulous craftsmanship, smooth interiors, flared rims, and in some cases, decorative carvings. But what's truly bewildering is their age. Radiocarbon dating places them between 1,500 and 2,500 years old, a time when much of the region's history remains shrouded in legend. So why would an ancient people devote such effort to creating these enigmatic containers, only to leave behind no written records of their purpose? The most widely accepted theory ties the jars to ancient burial practices. Excavations have uncovered human remains, burial goods, and ceramic discs that might have served as lids, suggesting the vessels were used to hold bodies or bones in funeral rites. Local legends support this idea, recounting tales of a giant king who brewed rice wine in the jars to celebrate a great victory, or in darker versions, stored the bodies of his enemies. Yet not every jar contains traces of the dead, leaving room for debate. Could they have served multiple functions? Some researchers propose they were fermentation vessels for food or alcohol, their massive size accommodating communal feasts. Others point to the jar's strategic placement near ancient trade routes, speculating they might have stored water or supplies for travelers crossing the rugged terrain. But the Plain of Jars holds a more haunting layer of history, one that intertwines ancient mystery with modern tragedy. During the Vietnam War, the area became one of the most heavily bombed regions on Earth, littered with unexploded ordnance that still poses dangers today. Ironically, some of the jars bear scars from this era, with bomb craters and shrapnel marks altering the landscape. In a grim twist, archaeologists have even uncovered evidence that certain jars were repurposed as bomb casings by later civilizations, their hollow interiors filled with gunpowder or shrapnel. It's a chilling reminder of how the past can be reshaped by violence, layering new meaning onto these ancient artifacts. Recent explorations using ground-penetrating radar have revealed even more jars buried beneath the soil, along with hidden cave systems that might connect to the sites. Could these tunnels hold clues to the jar's origins? Some researchers speculate the caves were used in conjunction with the jars, perhaps as cremation chambers or ritual spaces. Meanwhile, linguistic studies of local oral traditions hint at a possible link to the Mon Khmer peoples, whose descendants still inhabit parts of Laos today. The jars' distribution, sometimes clustered, sometimes isolated, suggests they might have marked territorial boundaries or sacred paths, their placement reflecting a cultural map we've yet to decipher. What makes the Plain of Jars so captivating isn't just the unanswered questions, but the way they resist any single explanation. Were they tombs, brewing vats, storage units, or something else entirely? The lack of definitive answers only deepens their mystique. Unlike grand temples or pyramids, these unassuming stone vessels don't proclaim their purpose, they whisper it, leaving us to piece together fragments of a story etched in rock and time. Walking among them, you can't help but feel the weight of their silence, a tangible connection to people who shaped the earth but left no words to guide us. In the arid landscapes of India's Rajasthan, a breathtaking structure descends into the earth like a geometric mirage. Chand Bayori, one of the world's deepest and most ornate stepwells. With 13 stories plunging nearly 100 feet down and over 3,500 perfectly symmetrical steps fanning out in mesmerizing precision, this architectural wonder isn't just a water source, it's a staircase to the unknown. Built in the 9th century, Chand Bayori's design is a masterclass in both form and function. The steps, arranged in a precise crisscross pattern, create a stunning visual illusion while serving a practical purpose, allowing villagers to access water at any level as the seasons changed and water tables fluctuated. But here's what's truly puzzling. Why invest such extraordinary effort into a structure that's equal parts utilitarian and artistic? The stepwell's dual identity is where the mystery deepens. While its primary role was to collect and conserve water in this drought-prone region, Chand Bayori's grandeur suggests something far beyond practicality. Flanking one side of the well is a sprawling pavilion adorned with intricate carvings of deities, mythical creatures, and royal processions. This wasn't just a place to draw water, it was a stage for rituals, gatherings, and perhaps even clandestine meetings. Local legends speak of the stepwell's whispering galleries, where voices carried eerily across its vast opening, enabling private conversations in a public space. Some researchers speculate that the acoustics were intentionally designed for ceremonial use, turning the well into a resonant chamber for chants or musical performances. Then there's the matter of its celestial alignment. The stepwell's four-sided design faces the cardinal directions, with the pavilion positioned to catch the first and last light of the sun during solstices. This precision has led some to propose that Chand Bayori doubled as an astronomical calendar, its shadows marking seasonal changes critical for agriculture. But the most tantalizing theory revolves around its name. Chand means moon, and folklore claims the stepwell was built in a single night by a mythical king under the moon's guidance. Could this hint at lunar rituals performed in its depths? Excavations have uncovered small shrines and offering niches hidden along the staircases, fueling speculation that the well was a pilgrimage site, blending survival and spirituality. Modern explorations have added layers to the enigma. Infrared scans reveal hidden chambers beneath the lowest steps, possibly used for storage or sacred ceremonies. Meanwhile, the stepwell's sheer depth creates a natural cooling effect, dropping temperatures by up to 10 degrees, a feature that might have made it a refuge from the desert heat, transforming it into a social hub after sunset. Yet for all its grandeur, Chand Bayori was abandoned for centuries, its purpose fading into obscurity until recent restoration efforts. What makes this structure so compelling isn't just its beauty or ingenuity, but the way it defies simple categorization. Was it a water tank, a temple, an observatory, or all three? Unlike monuments that declare their function boldly, Chand Bayori whispers its secrets through the play of light on its steps, the echo of footsteps in its corridors, and the cool hush of its deepest reaches. It stands as a testament to a civilization that saw no divide between necessity and artistry, where even a well could be a portal to the divine. The Tower of Babel looms large in our collective imagination, not just as a biblical parable, but as a tantalizing question mark in the history of architecture. According to the Book of Genesis, humanity's pride led them to build a tower so tall it would reach heaven, only for God to scatter them by confusing their languages. But could this story have roots in something tangible? Enter the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, towering stepped pyramids that seem to mirror the biblical description with uncanny precision. These massive structures, like the famous Etemenanki in Babylon, weren't just feats of engineering. They were sacred gateways between earth and the divine, their stairways symbolizing the path to the gods. Could one of these have inspired the myth of Babel? Archaeology offers compelling clues. The ruins of Etemenanki, dedicated to the god Marduk, once rose nearly 300 feet high with a base as wide as a modern football field. Historical records describe its gleaming facade of baked bricks and bitumen, a sight so awe-inspiring it might have seemed like a challenge to the heavens. Even more striking are the parallels in the story's details. Ancient texts mention a workforce speaking many languages, echoing the biblical tale of linguistic chaos. But here's where history and myth diverge. Unlike the doomed Tower of Babel, ziggurats were celebrated, not destroyed. They stood for centuries as centers of worship and power. So why would the biblical authors twist this narrative? Some scholars argue the Tower of Babel was a metaphor for Babylon's imperial arrogance, a cautionary tale against empires that sought to dominate both land and sky. The ziggurat's destruction in the story might symbolize the fleeting nature of human ambition. Others propose a simpler explanation. Early Hebrew scribes, encountering these colossal ruins during the Babylonian exile, wove their awe and resentment into a moral lesson. The real mystery isn't whether the tower existed, it's why its story resonated across cultures. From Mesopotamian hymns to Greek historian Herodotus' accounts, the idea of a towering structure uniting or dividing humanity appears again and again. Yet the ziggurats themselves harbor their own enigmas. Their stairways led to temples where only priests could tread, performing rituals to ensure cosmic order. The alignment of these structures with celestial events suggests they doubled as astronomical observatories, bridging science and spirituality. Perhaps that's the deeper truth behind the Tower of Babel myth, not just a warning against hubris, but a memory of humanity's persistent longing to touch the infinite. Whether as stone or story, these towers remind us that some ambitions are as old as civilization itself. Perched on Malta's rugged cliffs, the Haga Kim temples stand as a silent testament to a civilization that vanished without a trace. Built over 5,000 years ago, these megalithic structures predate Stonehenge and the pyramids, their massive limestone blocks weighing up to 20 tons each. But what makes Haga Kim truly extraordinary isn't just its age, it's the precision with which it's aligned to the cosmos. During the summer solstice, sunlight streams through a carefully carved aperture, illuminating a specific altar slab inside the temple like a spotlight. This isn't a coincidence, it's a feat of celestial engineering that suggests the builders possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy. How did a Neolithic society without written language or metal tools achieve such accuracy? The temple's design only deepens the puzzle. Unlike the rigid symmetry of later sacred sites, Haga Kim's layout feels organic, almost alive, with curved walls and irregular chambers that mimic the natural contours of the land. Some researchers believe this reflects a spiritual connection to the earth, with the temple acting as a bridge between the physical and divine worlds. The presence of carved fertility figures and animal reliefs hints at rituals tied to agriculture or seasonal cycles, while the discovery of spherical stones suggests they might have been used as primitive ball bearings to transport the massive blocks, an innovation centuries ahead of its time. But the greatest enigma isn't how Haga Kim was built, it's why its builders disappeared. Around 2500 BC, Malta's temple culture abruptly vanished, leaving no evidence of war, famine, or migration. One theory points to climate change. Pollen samples from the period indicate a dramatic shift to arid conditions, possibly turning the island into a barren landscape. Others speculate that societal collapse came from within overpopulation, resource depletion, or even a spiritual crisis that fractured their communal identity. Local folklore adds a haunting layer, whispering of a people who angered the gods and were swallowed by the sea. Modern technology has uncovered new clues beneath the surface. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed hidden chambers and tunnels, some aligned with underground water sources, hinting at rituals involving sacred springs or purification rites. Meanwhile, studies of the temple's acoustics show that certain chambers amplify sound in ways that could induce trance-like states, suggesting ceremonies involving drums or chants. The more we learn, the clearer it becomes. Haga Kim wasn't just a place of worship, it was a carefully engineered portal to the unseen, a testament to a people who sought harmony with forces beyond our understanding. Standing in the shadow of these stones today, you can't help but feel the weight of their unanswered questions. Who were these builders, and what drove them to carve their faith into the very bones of the earth? Their legacy endures not in words or artifacts, but in the silent alignment of stone and sky, a mystery as enduring as the cliffs that cradle it. Hidden deep in the Zhejiang province of China, the Longyou caves defy logic with their sheer scale and precision. Discovered by accident in 1992 when a local farmer drained a pond, these hand-carved caverns stretch across 30,000 square meters, each chamber meticulously chiseled from solid sandstone, its walls adorned with uniform parallel marks that suggest the work of countless tools. But here's what leaves experts stunned. Despite their grandeur, no historical records mention their construction. Who dared to excavate such a labyrinth, and why would a project of this magnitude vanish from history? The craftsmanship alone is staggering. The caves feature towering pillars arranged in perfect symmetry, their surfaces smooth to a consistency that would challenge modern machinery. Even more baffling is the acoustic design. Some chambers amplify sound in eerie ways, while others dampen echoes entirely, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of acoustics. Then there's the drainage system, a network of channels carved into the floors that prevents flooding, even after centuries of neglect. How did ancient builders achieve such precision without blueprints or written plans? Theories about the cave's purpose range from practical to fantastical. Some archaeologists argue they were quarries, mined for the high-quality sandstone used in nearby structures. Yet, unlike typical mines, the Longyou caves show no signs of tool marks from resource extraction, just deliberate, artistic patterns covering every inch. Others propose they served as secret imperial storehouses or military bunkers, their location strategically chosen to evade detection, but the most compelling theory ties them to ceremonial use. The pillars and chambers align with celestial events, and local legends speak of a lost kingdom performing rituals in subterranean halls to commune with ancestors. Adding to the intrigue are the rare, almost hallucinatory carvings found in one chamber, a depiction of a horse and fish that glows faintly under certain light angles, its meaning lost to time. Could this be a clue to the cave's spiritual significance? Modern technology has only deepened the mystery. Laser scans reveal hidden passages behind walls, while mineral deposits suggest the caves might be far older than initially estimated, possibly predating the Qin dynasty. What makes the Longyou caves so haunting isn't just their anonymity, but the lingering sense of intention. Every chisel mark, every echoing corridor feels purposeful, as if the builders meant to leave a message we're still struggling to decode. Unlike pyramids or temples that proclaim their glory, these silent chambers hold their secrets close, inviting us to wonder, were they meant to be found at all? Rising from the dense jungles of Guatemala, the towering temples of Tikal stand as silent witnesses to the brilliance and abrupt decline of the Mayan civilization. This ancient city, once teeming with life, now captivates us with its 9 awe-inspiring pyramids, some soaring over 200 feet above the forest canopy. But these aren't just monuments to forgotten kings. They're celestial timekeepers, their very positions mapping the movements of the sun, moon, and planets with startling precision. The Temple of the Great Jaguar, for instance, aligns perfectly with the rising sun during the spring and fall equinoxes, casting shadows that slither like serpents down its steps, a deliberate effect echoing Mayan myths of the cosmic serpent bridging earth and sky. How did a civilization without telescopes or modern tools engineer such astronomical accuracy? The answer lies in the Mayans' obsession with time. Their pyramids doubled as giant calendars, their staircases counting the days of the year, while temple doorways framed celestial events like Venus's cyclical appearances. Even the spacing between structures reflects complex mathematical ratios tied to their sacred calendar rounds, but Tukul's genius extends beyond astronomy. Beneath the pyramids lie labyrinthine tunnels and burial chambers where jade-masked rulers were interred with treasures and cryptic inscriptions. One chilling discovery was the tomb of King Jasorchan Kyahuil, buried with shells arranged to mirror the starry night sky, as if his afterlife journey was charted in celestial code. Then there's the mystery of Tukul's abandonment. At its peak around 800 AD, the city housed 100,000 people, yet within decades it was virtually deserted. Unlike other lost cities ravaged by invaders, Tukul shows no signs of battle. Instead, sediment cores reveal a grim clue: prolonged droughts that crippled agriculture, possibly triggering political collapse. But why didn't the Maya return when rains resumed? Some researchers point to a deeper crisis: overpopulation, exhausting resources, or a breakdown in the divine covenant between kings and gods, eroding faith in their rulers. The final acts played out in the very temples themselves, where altars were defaced and sacred objects shattered in what might have been acts of rebellion against a failing elite. Today, Tukul's unanswered questions whisper through the rustling leaves. Why did workers leave a pyramid mid-construction, its stones waiting eternally for the next layer? What secrets lie in the 90% of the city still buried beneath roots and vines? As howler monkeys echo across the ruins, their calls seem to carry the weight of centuries, reminding us that even the greatest civilizations can vanish, leaving behind stones that outlast memory itself. Deep in the heart of Indonesia's Java Island, the Borobudur Temple rises like a stone mountain of wisdom, its 9 stacked terraces reaching toward the heavens. Built in the 9th century, this colossal Buddhist monument isn't just a temple, it's a 3-dimensional guide to enlightenment. Its walls adorned with over 2,600 intricate relief panels and 500 Buddha statues, each telling a story in stone. But what makes Borobudur truly astonishing isn't just its artistry, it's the fact that it vanished for centuries, swallowed by volcanic ash and jungle until its rediscovery in the early 19th century. How could something so massive simply disappear, and what secrets did it guard during its long slumber beneath the earth? The temple's design is a masterpiece of sacred geometry. Pilgrims were meant to ascend its levels in a spiraling clockwise path, moving from the earthly realm at the base to the realm of pure formlessness at the summit. Every step along the way is a lesson carved in stone. The lower levels depict scenes of human desire and suffering, while the upper terraces shift to celestial Buddhas and serene meditative states. Some researchers believe the entire structure functions as a giant mandala, a physical representation of the Buddhist cosmos meant to guide devotees through meditation in motion. But here's the twist: Borobudur has no inner chambers, no hidden rooms. Unlike most temples, its power lies entirely in the journey upward, as if enlightenment could only be found by walking the path itself. Then there's the mystery of its abandonment. For centuries, Borobudur thrived as a spiritual hub, drawing pilgrims from across Asia. But by the 15th century, it was deserted, buried under layers of ash from nearby Mount Merapi's eruptions. Some historians link its decline to the rise of Islam in Java, or the shifting political tides that turned royal patronage elsewhere. Others speculate that the temple's esoteric teachings became inaccessible over time, its symbolism fading into obscurity. But nature played the most dramatic role. Volcanic debris and relentless tropical growth conspired to conceal Borobudur so completely that even local legends forgot its precise location. When British surveyor Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles rediscovered it in 1814, the temple was little more than a moss-covered hill, its statues peeking out like silent witnesses to a forgotten age. Modern excavations have unearthed even deeper puzzles. Among the reliefs, archaeologists found depictions of ships that closely resemble ancient Indonesian trading vessels, suggesting the temple might have been a nexus of spiritual and commercial exchange. Even more intriguing are the hidden reliefs panels buried beneath the base during construction, their images deliberately concealed. Some interpret these as time capsules, meant only for future discoverers, while others believe they were ritually interred to stabilize the temple's spiritual energy. Today, Borobudur stands as both a monument and a riddle. Why did its builders choose to express profound teachings in stone rather than texts? Was its burial an accident of nature or a form of divine protection? As sunlight washes over its stupas at dawn, casting long shadows across the carved parables of human folly and transcendence, the temple feels less like a relic and more like a living teacher, one that still has much to reveal. Carved into the rugged cliffs of Maharashtra, India, the Ellora Caves are a breathtaking fusion of faith, artistry, and engineering that defies easy explanation. Spread across a 2-kilometer stretch, this UNESCO World Heritage Site comprises 34 monasteries and temples, painstakingly chiseled from solid basalt rock between the 6th and 10th centuries. But what sets Ellora apart isn't just its scale, it's the way it harmonizes 3 distinct religions under one rocky expanse. Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain shrines stand side by side, their iconography and architecture reflecting a rare moment of coexistence in history. Walk through Cave 16, the magnificent Kailasa temple, and you'll find yourself in what seems like an impossible vision, an entire Mount Kailash replica, complete with intricate carvings of deities and mythic scenes, all carved from the top down. That's right, builders started at the cliff's peak and carved downward, removing over 200,000 tons of rock to create this monolithic masterpiece. How did they achieve such precision without modern tools or blueprints? The construction techniques alone are a marvel that still stump experts. Unlike traditional buildings erected block by block, the Ellora Caves were subtracted from the earth, their creators working like sculptors freeing figures from stone. The Kailasa temple's courtyard, for instance, plunges 100 feet into the ground, its walls adorned with life-sized elephants and dramatic friezes depicting scenes from the Ramayana. Some scholars estimate that this single temple required the removal of rock equivalent to twice the volume of the Parthenon, a feat that would have taken generations of laborers. But here's the twist: historical records from the era mention no such project. Who organized this workforce? How did they maintain such consistency in style and scale over centuries? The absence of debris piles nearby only deepens the mystery. Where did all that excavated rock go? Beyond engineering, Ellora's spiritual syncretism is equally fascinating. The Buddhist caves, among the earliest, exude serenity with their meditative stupas and lotus motifs. Just footsteps away, the Hindu caves explode with dynamic energy, gods and goddesses frozen in dance, battle, and cosmic creation. Then come the Jain caves, their austerity and precise geometry offering yet another contrast. This peaceful coexistence suggests a level of tolerance rare for its time, though local legends hint at tensions. One tale speaks of a Hindu king commissioning the Kailasa temple to outshine the nearby Buddhist caves, a symbolic rivalry etched in rock. Yet neither faith erased the other. Instead, their legacies intertwine in these caverns, leaving us to wonder if Ellora was less a battleground and more a silent dialogue between beliefs. Recent studies have uncovered even more layers to the mystery. Acoustic analyzers reveal that certain chambers amplify chants or drumbeats with eerie clarity, hinting at ritual soundscapes designed to elevate worship. Meanwhile, hidden passages and unfinished tunnels suggest the complex might have been far grander than what we see today. Some researchers speculate that Ellora's location along ancient trade routes made it a spiritual pit stop for merchants and pilgrims, its caves serving as both sanctuary and cultural crossroads. What lingers most about Ellora isn't just the how of its creation, but the why. In a world where religious divisions often dominate history, these caves stand as a testament to something rarer, a fleeting moment where traditions converged and human hands turned a mountain into a mirror of the divine. The rock remembers what written histories often forget, that devotion in all its forms can shape the earth itself. Nestled in the lush rainforests of southern Mexico, the ruins of Palenque reveal a Mayan city where water flowed like sacred veins through stone. Unlike other ancient sites that relied on surface rivers, Palenque's engineers designed an intricate network of underground aqueducts, some stretching over 50 meters long, with precise slopes to control water pressure, a feat rivaling Roman hydraulics. What's astonishing isn't just their functionality, but their elegance. These weren't mere ditches but sculpted channels, their walls adorned with carvings of aquatic deities, turning practical infrastructure into a tribute to the gods of rain and rivers. How did a civilization without metal tools or wheels master hydrodynamics so flawlessly? The answer lies in their reverence for water, not just as a resource but as a divine force, channeled through stone to sustain both body and spirit. At the heart of Palenque's mysteries stands the Temple of the Inscriptions, housing the tomb of the legendary ruler Pakal the Great. Descending its hidden staircase feels like stepping into a myth. The burial chamber below holds a sarcophagus lid that's ignited debates for decades, an intricate carving showing Pakal, reclined in what some fringe theorists insist resembles a spacecraft, his hands on controls, surrounded by cosmic symbols. Mainstream archaeologists dismiss this as fantasy, interpreting the scene as a Mayan vision of the afterlife. Pakal descending into the underworld amid sacred trees and celestial serpents. But the precision of the imagery is undeniable. Flames curl around the edges like rocket exhaust, while a quatrefoil motif, a Mayan symbol for portals, frames his body as if he's passing through a stargate. Whether it's a spiritual journey or something more, the lid's craftsmanship is staggering. The entire slab was carved from a single block of limestone, its glyphs recounting Pakal's life and the cosmic cycles he'd navigate in death. Yet the tomb's marvels don't end there. Pakal's jade-adorned body wore a mosaic mask of over 200 pieces, each fitted with near-microscopic precision. Nearby, 9 stucco figures, possibly representations of underworld gods, stand guard, their pigment still vivid after 13 centuries. The chamber's walls whisper with astronomical calculations, tracking Venus's cycles to guide Pakal's soul through the heavens. This wasn't just a burial, it was a celestial roadmap etched in stone. Palenque's genius lies in its duality, where engineering met cosmology, and rulers like Pakal straddled the line between kings and mythic voyagers. The aqueducts testify to a society that tamed nature without conquering it, while the tomb challenges us to rethink how the Maya perceived existence itself. To walk these ruins is to trace the fingerprints of a culture that saw no divide between science and the sacred, leaving behind puzzles that still ripple through time. Elant's Ox Meadows stands as a ghostly whisper of Viking ambition on the windswept coast of Newfoundland, the only confirmed Norse settlement in North America, dating back over 1,000 years. Discovered in the 1960s by explorer Helge Ingstad and archaeologist Anne Stein Ingstad, this cluster of sod-walled longhouses and workshops proves that Vikings reached the New World centuries before Columbus. But what's truly puzzling isn't just their presence here, it's why they left so soon. Despite its prime location rich in timber, fish, and game, the settlement lasted barely a decade before being abandoned, leaving behind iron nails, a bronze cloak pin, and fragments of a world that slipped back into myth. The site's layout reveals a carefully planned outpost, not a haphazard camp. 8 buildings including dwellings, a forge, and even a carpentry workshop hint at a community prepared to stay. Artifacts like a spindle wall suggest women were present, challenging old notions of Viking expeditions as male-only ventures. But the most tantalizing clue lies in butternut shells found among the ruins. Butternuts don't grow in Newfoundland. They thrive hundreds of miles south, near New Brunswick or the Gulf of St. Lawrence. This implies the Norse explored far beyond Eland's Orcs Meadows, possibly using it as a base camp for deeper voyages. So why didn't they colonize these fertile lands? Climate may hold part of the answer. Tree ring studies from the era show a sudden cold snap around the year 1000, shortening growing seasons and straining resources. For a people dependent on livestock and barley, even a minor climate shift could spell disaster. Then there's the human factor. Sagas like the Grönlandinga saga speak of violent clashes with indigenous groups the Vikings called Skraelings, likely the Beothuk or Dorset peoples. Arrowheads found near the site and accounts of hellish projectiles suggest tensions flared quickly. Without overwhelming numbers or local alliances, the Norse may have found the risks outweighing the rewards. But perhaps the deepest mystery is cultural. Unlike their settlements in Greenland or Iceland, Eland's Orcs Meadows lacked the hallmarks of permanent Norse life: no burial mounds, no churches, no expanded farmland. This was a transient hub, a stepping stone to somewhere else. Some historians argue the Vikings never intended to stay. They came for timber and bog iron, resources scarce in Greenland, and left once their ships were stocked. Others theorize the settlement was a casualty of political upheaval back home, the rise of Christianity marginalizing the Old Norse elite who funded such expeditions. The silence of Eland's Orcs Meadows is as telling as its artifacts. No glorious sagas celebrate its founding or fall. It simply faded into the peat, waiting centuries to be found. Standing on those grassy mounds today, you can almost hear the echoes of axes splitting wood, the murmur of a language that hadn't yet named this place. The Vikings didn't fail here. They chose to leave, turning their prows back toward a world they understood. And in doing so, they left us a puzzle wrapped in turf and tide, not why they came, but why they didn't stay. Teotihuacan sprawls across the Mexican highlands like a geometric dream frozen in stone, its towering pyramids and grid-like streets radiating an aura of deliberate, almost mathematical precision. Known as the City of the Gods, this metropolis thrived nearly 2,000 years ago, yet its origins remain shrouded in mystery. Its builders left no written records, and even its true name is lost to history. What we do know is staggering. At its peak, Teotihuacan was one of the largest cities on Earth, home to over 100,000 people, its influence stretching across Mesoamerica. But the most captivating enigmas lie in its architecture. The Pyramid of the Sun, a colossus rising 250 feet high, anchors the city's central avenue, the Street of the Dead, while the slightly smaller Pyramid of the Moon completes this celestial symmetry. Together, they form a sacred landscape aligned with uncanny accuracy, not just to each other, but to the cosmos itself. The precision of Teotihuacan's layout is where the questions multiply. The Street of the Dead runs 15.5 degrees east of true north, an alignment that doesn't match cardinal directions but instead points to significant astronomical events. On certain dates, the sun sets directly behind the Pyramid of the Sun, casting shadows that slice through the city like a sundial's blade. Even more intriguing is the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, adorned with carvings of the deity Quetzalcoatl, its facade alternating between serpent heads and undulating bodies. Beneath it, archaeologists uncovered a tunnel filled with liquid mercury, mirrors of pyrite, and thousands of ritual objects, a subterranean world likely symbolizing the underworld mirroring the heavens above. Who designed this urban marvel? The Aztecs, who rediscovered the abandoned city centuries later, believed it was built by divine hands, naming it Teotihuacan, the place where gods were created. Modern archaeology suggests a more human origin, though no less extraordinary. The city's multicultural artifacts, Olmec-style masks, Mayan murals, and Zapotec pottery hint at a cosmopolitan hub where diverse cultures mingled under a shared vision. Yet despite its grandeur, Teotihuacan's collapse is as mysterious as its rise. Around the 6th century, the city was burned and abandoned, its palaces toppled in what appears to be a violent revolt. Was it class strife, environmental disaster, or invasion that brought down this empire? The ruins offer no easy answers. What lingers is the genius of its design. Teotihuacan wasn't just a city, it was a living cosmology, its streets and pyramids mapping the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. To walk its avenues today is to tread a path between earth and sky, where every stone whispers of a civilization that sought to mirror the heavens, and in doing so, left behind a mystery as vast as the cosmos it revered. High in the Bolivian Andes, the ruins of Pumapunku present a puzzle that defies conventional archaeology. Scattered across the site are massive stone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, carved with geometric precision that would challenge modern masons. The edges are razor-sharp, the surfaces flawlessly smooth, and the interlocking cuts so exact that not even a blade can slip between them. What makes these stones truly baffling isn't just their craftsmanship, it's the lingering question of how an ancient civilization, supposedly working with primitive bronze tools, could achieve such perfection. The age of Pumapunku only fuels the mystery. Mainstream archaeologists date the site to around 500 AD, attributing it to the Tiwanaku culture. But some researchers argue the weathering patterns and geological evidence suggest a far older origin, possibly stretching back 12,000 years or more. If true, this would place Pumapunku in a pre-flood era, aligning with fringe theories of lost advanced civilizations. The stones themselves offer no clear answers. They bear no inscriptions, no carvings of rulers or gods, just silent mathematical precision. This absence of cultural markers has led to wild speculation, from ancient high-tech societies to extraterrestrial architects. One of the most compelling debates centers on the construction techniques. The andesite and granite blocks feature drill holes, straight grooves, and perfectly right-angled cuts that some argue could only be made with diamond-tipped tools or advanced machinery. Skeptics counter that patient labor and abrasives like sandstone could achieve similar results, albeit over generations. Yet even this explanation struggles to account for the sheer scale and consistency of the work. The stones fit together like a three-dimensional puzzle with complex notches and channels that suggest modular assembly, a concept alien to most ancient building methods. Then there's the eerie resemblance to modern prefabrication. Some blocks appear standardized, as if mass-produced, with repeating patterns that hint at an assembly line process. This has led theorists to propose that Pumapunku was part of a larger, now vanished industrial complex, its purpose lost to time. Others see it as evidence of a cataclysmic event, a flood or earthquake that scattered the stones like toy bricks, leaving behind only fragments of a grander design. Local legends add another layer of intrigue. The Aymara people, descendants of the region's ancient inhabitants, speak of a time when giants built Pumapunku in a single night under the guidance of celestial beings. While these stories are often dismissed as myth, they echo broader global narratives of enigmatic megalithic sites attributed to otherworldly or superhuman forces. Modern science may never fully unravel Pumapunku's secrets, but one thing is certain. These stones are more than rubble. They're a challenge to our understanding of history, daring us to reconsider what ancient civilizations were truly capable of. In the quiet outskirts of Homestead, Florida, a peculiar monument stands as a testament to one man's obsession and ingenuity: the Coral Castle. Built entirely by Edward Leedskalnin, a reclusive Latvian immigrant, this sprawling complex of massive coral rock sculptures defies all logic. Each stone, some weighing as much as 30 tons, was quarried, carved, and positioned by Leedskalnin alone, working under the cover of darkness with no witnesses. How did a man barely 5 feet tall and weighing just 100 pounds accomplish such a feat? The answer remains one of the 20th century's most tantalizing mysteries. Leedskalnin's methods were as enigmatic as the man himself. He claimed to have unlocked the secrets of the ancient Egyptians, insisting he understood how the pyramids were built. When pressed for details, he'd cryptically reply that he'd discovered how the Egyptians and the ancient builders of Peru, Yucatan, and Asia, with only primitive tools, raised and set in place blocks of stone weighing many tons. Yet he left no blueprints, no journals, just a handful of vague pamphlets and the coral castle itself as proof of his knowledge. Witnesses reported seeing him work with nothing more than simple hand tools, yet the precision of his craftsmanship rivals modern machinery. The stones fit together so seamlessly that no mortar was needed, and some feature perfectly drilled holes and smooth, polished surfaces that suggest advanced techniques far beyond what one man could achieve alone. Theories about his techniques range from the plausible to the fantastical. Some engineers propose he used leverage and counterweights, exploiting the coral rock's natural weaknesses to split and move the stones. Others point to his fascination with magnetism and electricity. Lidskalnin was known to rig up odd electrical devices and spoke of harnessing perpetual motion. This has led to speculation that he might have discovered some form of anti-gravity or acoustic levitation, though no evidence supports these claims. Then there's the romantic angle. Local legend says he built the castle as a tribute to a lost love, a woman named Agnes who jilted him at the altar in Latvia. Whether driven by heartbreak or sheer obsession, his motivation only adds to the allure. Perhaps the most baffling aspect of the coral castle is its celestial alignment. A 30-ton obelisk, a 9-ton revolving gate so perfectly balanced a child could push it, and a telescope-like telescope that points to the North Star, all suggest Lidskalnin had a deep understanding of astronomy. Was he encoding cosmic knowledge into his stone garden, or was this merely the eccentric hobby of a lonely genius? Even his death in 1951 deepened the mystery. He left behind no heirs, no explanations, just a locked workshop that was later found empty. To walk through the coral castle today is to step into a labyrinth of unanswered questions. Each sculpture, from a crescent moon to a throne room fit for a giant, whispers of secrets lost with their creator. Whether Lidskalnin stumbled upon forgotten physics or simply possessed inhuman patience, his legacy challenges our understanding of what one determined person can achieve. The stones remain silent and immovable, as if waiting for someone to unlock their riddles. From the Great Pyramid's celestial precision to the silent, sprawling ruins of Teotihuacan, these 25 mysterious structures are more than just ancient relics. They're portals to the past, each one defying easy explanation. We've wandered through hidden underground cities like Derinkuyu, marveled at the cosmic alignments of Stonehenge, and stood in awe before the impossible stonework of Puma Punku. We've pondered whether the Nazca Lines were messages to the gods or star maps, and debated if the coral castle was built with forgotten physics or sheer human determination. These aren't just puzzles for archaeologists, they're invitations to rethink what we know about human ingenuity, spirituality, and the boundaries of history itself. What ties them all together isn't just their unanswered questions, but the way they reveal the gaps in our understanding. How could civilizations separated by oceans and millennia achieve such similar feats of engineering? Why did some vanish without a trace, leaving behind only whispers in stone? Every site we've explored today, from the towering Moai of Easter Island to the acoustic wonders of Malta's hypogeum, challenges the linear narrative of progress, suggesting that ancient peoples possessed knowledge we're still struggling to reclaim. Perhaps that's the real magic of these places. They refuse to be confined to textbooks or neatly labeled with a single purpose. The Temple of Baalbek's gargantuan foundation stones, Göbekli Tepe's pre-agricultural sophistication, Borobudure's hidden reliefs, each one is a reminder that history is far stranger and far richer than we often assume. Even in ruins, they spark our curiosity, daring us to imagine the hands that built them and the worlds they once inhabited. Now it's your turn. Which of these enigmatic sites captured your imagination? Do you think the Yonaguni monument is a sunken city or a quirk of geology? Could the Longyou caves hold the key to a lost civilization? Drop your theories in the comments. We'd love to hear which mysteries keep you up at night. And if you're hungry for more deep dives into history's unsolved puzzles, don't forget to subscribe. The past is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered, and we're just getting started. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the most fascinating stories are the ones still waiting to be told.